Hello there, I'm another Magento dev. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to look at widgets. It's something I've never covered before. We're going to look at the default. For the first part of the video, we're going to look at default widgets. I'm going to show you what widgets are, what they do, why they're useful. Well, you might discern why they're useful from what I sort of explained. But then the second part, or the other part of the video, I'm going to show you how we can include a custom widget in a module. I'm also going to show you how you might want to put that, insert that into certain parts of your page, and also maybe combine it with a static block, because I don't think those two things are too difficult to do, and it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of the functionality that you can bring to the page. Because with widgets, as we're going to find out, you are able to actually add variables to them, parameters to them. So you are able to add some like data to them and show that on the front end. But sometimes you might need a little bit more, and that's when I think combining them with a static block in a module is probably the probably sort of like a little bit of an extension to just using a normal widget, but you get all the good functionality of a widget. You get all the functionality of a widget. So we'll dive right into it. So where can you find widgets? Well, the great thing about Magento 2, or one of the great things about Magento 2, is that it comes pre-installed with a lot of sort of default widgets. I've actually installed sample data on this site, so it's a good way of experimenting with Magento and experimenting with functionality, particularly widgets, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think sample data adds more widgets. So it's a good way to see different types of widgets and what have you. But essentially, if you go into content, and then it's in there, look, it's widgets. So it's an element in it. You have your pages, you have your blocks, and blocks interact with pages. They interact with your templates, and templates are sort of saved page built pages, I think. And then you have your widgets there. So here's a list of the sort of current widgets. So these are the widgets, as I say. Sample data has added more, but you do get some by default. And these are the ones that are already kind of built for the site. So if we just have a quick look at the top one. These are widgets that have already been brought to life on the site. So there is a difference between that and the type of widget we're going to make. But this is a widget that's been put into the sort of top, the main content, the top of the main content. Look at all these options here. You can slot them in anywhere. Of specifically the Contact Us page. In these layout updates area here, in this layout updates area, is where you specify where you want to put it. So say we want to add a new one of these. Let's just add a widget. The type is what I was talking about. So we're going to create a new widget type. And in here we've got some default types, and these are they're quite useful just in and of themselves. Look, you've got like a new product list, you've got product list. Say we want to just wham a new product list on the home page. It's not something that tell you what, we'll do a sale product. So I'll show you a default one first. So we'll go for product list, and we're using Luma, so we'll go for Luma. See, it's added widget options. These are the parameters that I was talking about. Now, it gives you a good amount of functionality. You have to add these in a layout XML. I'm going to show you them later. Well, widget XML, actually. I'm going to show you them in the next part of this video. But it basically gives you a, it's prompting me there on sale, but I might, say on sale. It gives you a way of controlling certain aspects. This is a really good sort of really flexible widget, to be honest, this product list one, because it follows the same styles as your product grid. So once you've styled it, this will all come out in the right style for your site, and you'll probably see, I'll just use it now, and you'll probably see how useful it could be for your site. So if we go for something like sale price, I sometimes use special price, that's one. So if I say special price is greater than 0, so meaning it has one, it should pick up sale products, shouldn't it? Or products that are on sale. So if I save that, so I'm just going to select all store views, and then because I've only got one, and then I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose here where to show it. So this is pretty cool, to be honest. I think it's one of those sort of really underrated functionalities of Magento 2 is the fact that you've got all of this control in something where you haven't sort of touched the code yet. You know, it's just default functionality, and you can really use this in sort of many different ways. So I'm going to say all pages because I want it to be like a global block, and I'm going to put it at the bottom of main content. Yeah, that's fair enough, isn't it? Right at the bottom of main content, and then I'm going to save it. And then if I just jump into, say, my home page, it's not there. I think I need to refresh the cache. There we go. So it's my own, you know, it's an on sale block. It's even got pagination look because I added 5. Not the best functionality there as it jumps to the top, but I'm sure we could sort that out, couldn't we? But so it saved you, you know, adding a static on sale block. It saved you a fair bit of work there. Just jump into a product, see if it's there. We go on sale. It's this at the bottom of every page, like I asked. So that's sort of a whistle-stop tour of the default functionality of widgets, and adding a new one. So that's not too bad. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a module, and we're going to add a module, a real simple module that modifies the widget, or modifies the widget area of the site, modifies the widget area of the install to create a custom widget. So I'm talking about a different type of widget, not a different place where we're putting it. So let's jump into that. Right in. So I've brought these up because I've found them in vendor now, so I don't have to look for them later, because I'm going to build a widget what shows the newsletter with a static block. I thought that would be quite useful, because sometimes you have like a bit of text that says please sign up to my newsletter, we really want your email address, then you have the little sign up. It also shows you it shows you a couple of complicated enough to give you enough to sort of learn from. I'm not just going to print hello world to the screen. I can't be asked for that. So I'm gonna do something a little bit better. So, and I thought that was quite cool. I've done it quite a bit, so I thought I use it so other people may need that type of thing. Right, and so yeah, I've got them ready because I'm going to use code from them. So I'm going to start by adding my first module into here. Now, at this point in the video, I'm going to say, and I've mentioned it in other videos, if you're creating modules, download an extension called Magento Wizard. That one, Magento Wizard, for creating modules, and I'm going to show you for why in like 10 seconds. So once we're in this screen here, so it's that one by Vitali Peretiatko. Right, and this is what it does. If you want a module, so Control Shift on a computer, normal PC, it'll be Command Shift on a Macintosh, and then you go Control Shift and P, and you get up this is in VS Code obviously, and I've got it sort of like up here at the top, but obviously if I typed in Magento Wizard, create new extension. Then I'm going to say my vendor, so I'm going to call it Adam, and then I'm going to say what I want to call the actual extension, custom widget. Right, saw a bit of movement there. What has it done? Look at that. It's created me boilerplate code for a widget. It's just, there you go. Need I say more? I do not. I do not need to say more. It's just nice and easy, gets you up and running with something that is workable from the off. Really, it's the core functionality or the core code or the core files for every type of module that you could come across, really. Right, so in terms of the module, what we're going to build into it, well, because we know at this point that we want to add a widget, we've got to add the widget in the module, and the way you do that in Magento 2 is in etc folder, or etc as we say where I come from, is a widget file, and it's a widget XML. And in this widget XML, we're gonna paste some code, because I wrote it earlier, because otherwise it'd take me ages to write out, but I'm gonna talk through it. At this point, we are looking at this code. So it's real simple. Right, so I'm basically calling it the newsletter sign up form, or newsletter sign up form block or something. And yeah, I did know I was gonna call it that. So I'm referencing a class that I'm about to create, look, and in here I've given it a sort of an ID that's going to be unique, and then I'm telling it to sort of give it a label, give it a description. I'll tell you what, I'm going to add a parameter to this as well as a bit of extra, bit of bonus content. So I've just brought it up in here, so I saved it here. So to add parameters, you essentially want to, underneath where it says description there, you say parameters. And inside parameters, I'm just going to finish it for me there, won't it? Parameters. You want a parameter. And that parameter is going to have a name equaling title, for example. Obviously, that one I showed you earlier had more parameters. It had like the amount of products, and so it depends on the type of module. But to be fair, this module doesn't even require parameters. Like I don't need a title for it. I'm just sort of showing. But you can obviously adapt this to you know, whatever you need. So I'm gonna just bang this in here, what I typed in earlier, because I got bored of typing it out. So essentially I've got a title parameter, and these are kind of just like default. This one's important, and this is important here, visible true, and that means that I'm going to be able to see it on the front end when I eventually call it through in my PHTML file. So there you go, it's a real simple file, the old widget file. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a block, because the widget, so I'm going to create a block folder. New folder. I'm going to create a block, because you override or add a widget template using a block. And as I mentioned before, I've already got one. So, and obviously, spoiler alert, I've already called it this widget newsletter sign up. So that means I need a widget folder here, and then inside here I need a file called newsletter sign up.php. So this is my block. So this is that Magento wizard plugin again. Look, it's handy, innit? Handy. Obviously I don't need it for this one, but that's decent. And helpful for most. Right, so I'm just gonna grab some code what I previously used. Just gonna bang this in here. Oh shit, what have I done there? Cancel that. Right. Let's try again. Right. I'll do this bit first. Right, I'll do this bit first. Yeah. There we go. Right, this is all I wanted to show you first of all. So, most basic is you just need to write a template, a protected template function to call the PHTML file that you want to use. So at this point, I'm just going to save this. Now, I'm going to add more to this, but I'm going to do it bit by bit. So now I'm going to add a view folder because I want to add a front end template, and in a module, your view folder is how you do that. So view, and then I need a front end. The alternative would be if it was an admin module, for example, you'd have admin. So front end, so I'm targeting the front end, templates, plural, and then because it's template file, not a layout file, obviously, and then in there I'm going to have widget, and then in here is the file, yeah, widget, and then newsletter. So newsletter underscore sign up dot PHTML. Again, it's added me some nice boilerplate code, what is useless but useful. So we're going to just, for now, see if we get some kind of output. So I'm just going to no good refreshing that, is it? Right. At this point, I'm going to see if I can get some output, as I said. So to do that, I've got to use the widget I've just added. So in here, I'll tell you what I need to do. I need to deploy it. So I need to run setup upgrade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the big force. I'm going to run setup upgrade, di compile, static content deploy, and cache flush. So I will just pause the whole video there whilst this runs. Right then, so static content is deployed, or is deploying, and run this off. Yeah, there we go, it's done. And then, so if I come into here, type, I've now got newsletter sign up form block, which I added here. Newsletter sign up form block. That's where it's getting that from. So I'm going to add it. So I'm going to bang that in there, and I'm going to choose Luma, continue. And then I've got some widget options, and that's because I added a widget title. I'll just call it newsletter sign up. And then in my properties, I've got to give it the title, so I'll give it the same, newsletter sign up. And then I'm going to say all store views again. Not asked about sort order on this one. And I'm going to just bang it somewhere obvious. So I'm going to say on all pages, just look at all these options. Look at all these options. Page bottom. Let's save it. Let's just quickly refresh the cache. So that's done, and refresh. There it is. So it's probably too much. It's right at the bottom. So you can see I'm outputting test, and that's at least know my widget's working, or my module's working using a widget. So happy days. I'm happy about that up to this point. I'm just going to move it because I can't have it under the footer. That's going to annoy me. Page bottom was far too low. Where are we? So we need content, we need widgets, we need to find our widget we've just added, which is this little fella, and we're just going to change the position of it. I could put main content bottom. That's probably better. Give it a refresh. Any better? No. Refresh cache again. This is a funny thing, this. I don't think I've turned off the right cache, to be honest. I think it might be... I'm not sure which cache it would be that affects this, actually. Let's have a quick look. So, in my cache settings, if I just jump into etc, and then I go into my env, here's my... Oh, they've come back on. Yeah, I found this happens sometimes. So... my cache comes back on when I run setup upgrade. think that's because I haven't put it in my big 4 command to switch those caches off after it runs. So I'm just going to switch them off in env, and I won't be running setup upgrade again, so I don't have to ask about with that. Yeah, it's in a decent position now. It's just above this on sale one what we added earlier. So right, next thing I'm going to do, let's start fleshing this out a little bit and getting a bit more out of it than what we've got. But at this point in the video, this point in this process, you just want to make sure your widget's working, you've seen it working, you've got your control group, now you can start editing it and making sure that, knowing that you have at least got it working functionally. So you know that when you're debugging it later on, it's not because you fucked up at this point and you can't, your widget isn't even working yet you're trying to debug something. So I always find it better to relax the problem first and just get something showing on the page and then start fleshing it out. So right, what do we need now? Well, I said I was going to add a bit more to my old block, didn't I? So those of you that have probably watched videos of mine before, watched any video on Magento about creating blocks, or at least know how to create blocks, you must know how, at this point, how to create a block show a static block using block on a PHTML template. It's a dead simple thing to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it now. So we need a public function, and it's a real simple one. And essentially what this does is get static block HTML, takes in an identifier, and then outputs that HTML. That's what it does. Really simple. I've probably done one before. I honestly can't remember. But so the way to use this now in my file is I'll just jump into here, and in this file here, I just need to call my function, which was get static block HTML, and I can echo it. And I need to tell Magento that it's a block, echo it, and then I bang the identifier in here. So it's just a string, just takes a string, and I'm going to call it newsletter. Block, because that's what I'm going to call the static block in the CMS. So we could get that bit working now, so we'll just quickly jump in, and then we'll jump onto the more complicated bits with the form submission, the subscribe form submission. So to be able to create a new static block, covering loads in here, aren't I? This is a great one. And create a static block, we'll add a new static block. So add new. We'll go. We'll call it news letter underscore. No, right. Yeah, always do that. Always do that. So newsletter block is the identifier. So that's the identifier, obviously, that I'm using in my module, and then in here we'll just add some content. So I'll just bang a row in there, and I'll just bang some text in there. And I'm just going to say, please sign up to my newsletter. It's okay. You won't get spammed. I never send anything anyway. Just close this down. And now, once this saves, I thought I was struggling then. I thought I was going to have to have a little cutscene of Richie and Eddie smashing each other with a pan or something. Then, if you know, you know. And then if I give this a refresh, yeah, my static block showing. So there you go. That's how you get some static block working in a module. So useful. And now next to that, so imagine we have some sort of code in here, and you'd have like a 50% column. So like, if it was bootstrap, it would be like col 6, wouldn't it, on a 12 col grid, that type of crap. Don't use bootstrap anymore, foundation, what I rarely use them, but you know what I'm getting at. And then you have like class. So this is like span across. It's not going to work, but so I don't even know why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to get the watch hours. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the newsletter working in the other side, or it's going to be below it. But I'm going to get the newsletter working, and this is quite a cool bit. So this is why I saved these two files, because whenever you're building a module, whenever you're extending a theme, there's always a reference point in Magento for you, and it is in vendor folder if you don't know, and you can just do a search for things in there. So say for example, so this was my thought process on this. I want to show this thing here, don't I? Even though it's in the footer, I want to show it here because I do. I'm just going to search for something. So if I just jump in here and I go into inspect, and then I find the old newsletter. So there we go, block newsletter. I can search for something here. I can search for block newsletter, for example. And if I search in vendor for block newsletter, what's it going to give me? It's going to give me this here, look. So the subscribe form. So there we go, I've got the subscribe form. Brilliant. Next thing I'm going to search for is how the subscribe form sort of submits. And that's when you find the get form action URL. And then you find that in vendor module newsletter block subscribe. So because so obviously that one was unfair. I didn't just search for that. I sort of knew that, but there's logic to it as well, because I'm going to write this code into my block. So I need to look in the block in vendor. I'm like, it's comparable. So it's not always foolproof, but it gets you in the right area. And with simple functionality like the subscribe, it's very easy to find how things are sort of put together in Magento by looking in vendor. So I've got both of these actions, if you like, or functions. Sorry, I've got this function and I've got this template to work with for my module. So this is my module, and at the minute I've just got this. I've just got my static block. So I'm going to paste in this function here. And I know it's going to work because the only sort of dependency is the extension of the default template. So this is going to work everywhere. That's the beauty of this type of function, is it's going to work everywhere. So I know I can just bang this straight in my module, and this is gonna be working for me. So that's my block. That's going to process the form wherever once I get it to appear. So to get it to appear, I've got to include the actual form in my template. So I'm gonna just bang in the form from here. I'm just going to bang that in there. Right, give that a save. Go into here. Give it a refresh. There we go, got it. So just test it, and like you can click on it, JavaScript's working. It's working independently to this one, which is quite good. Obviously it's not gone left and right. There's another way to write that CSS, which I can't be bothered. It's not about this. Is not what the video is about. But yeah, so I've got this useful widget now working in my home page. I think, did I say it would work on all pages? Content bottom. Yeah, like there, look. Yeah, but that's my on sale one. So it's on every page. So obviously you can imagine this is quite a powerful piece of functionality in Magento widgets, particularly when you know how to customize them yourself. So the last thing I'm going to show you is earlier on I added a widget title. Look, newsletter sign up, custom. something different there. And I'm going to show you how to use that part of the widget. So at the minute, to be fair, I think this is hidden by the CSS. Yeah, it's not on the page, but you can see it there in the code. Right, so I'm gonna add this somewhere else. So say I wanted my my custom title to show. I get data, so it's this block essentially. Get data title, and then I save it, and that's it. Simple as that. So obviously, whatever you call your variable in widget, so I've called it title. That's what you would put in your data string there. So you pass that string to it, and then it'll show you custom information as well. So it's just another handy thing to know. So yeah, I think that just about wraps this one up. So thanks for watching. Thanks for staying to the end. If you like this type of content, this Magento content, give it a like, obviously, and then subscribe. And I appreciate you watching, Magento friends, and I'll no doubt see you in the next one.